one last thing, I definitely want to just talk about Africa real quick. So, it's we've been having a lot of Africa vibes lately. We was with Akon.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Akon.
Legendary.
Talking about Senegal, talking about, his vision and his plans for Africa. Then we was at Africon and was on a dope panel.
Mm-hmm.
And, talking about Africa and the diaspora and different things of that nature. And then we went to the ball. And then we were actually with Black Sam yesterday and had lunch with him. Took us to an Ethiopian spot. And that he was giving us information on Ethiopia. Their family's from Eritrea. Their father is from Eritrea. Mm-hmm. So he was giving us information on Eritrea, Ethiopia, that whole, vibe that they have there. Ethiopia is the only country in Africa to never be colonized.
Wow.
Haile Selassie. Fought off colonization from Mussolini. Mussolini, Italy, they colonized Eritrea. And he was telling me that's why I was like, even to this day, like there's a lot of Italian influence in Eritrea. Like spaghetti, like even the architecture is like they still have a imprint on the country. But Ethiopia is the only country to never be colonized in Africa. But of course, we are going to Africa for Market Mondays. We're going to be announcing that real soon, Ghana. But the plan is definitely, a lot of plans and vibes for Africa. And I say Africa, a lot of times people are like, well, why don't you talk about a specific country? Well, A, it's not about one country. And B, those countries were drawn up by European colonizers. Those countries didn't exist before the European colonizers came and carved up the continent like a piece of cake. So it's like you worrying about this country and that country and that country, but that's a form of division. Mm-hmm. And there's unity in working together. And there's unity, and of course, people have different cultures, different tribes. We're respectful of that. But the message is not for individualism or patriotism for your own particular land.
Yeah.
That is one of the reasons why we are in such a divisive place in this world today, because Black people in America feel a certain way, and then it's Black people in Brazil that feel a certain way, and then it's Black people in South Africa, and then Nigeria and Ghana, and then everybody's fighting against each other, and it's a divide and conquer. As long as they can keep you divided, then it's easy to keep you conquered.
Absolutely.
So Africa is definitely on the radar. The whole entire continent of Africa, East Africa, West Africa, South Africa, Central Africa, the whole entire continent is on the radar because I feel like there is so much opportunity and shared information and resources and, for both parties to actually learn and benefit from each other. So definitely something that's a major, vision for us and something that I think, more people should actually look into to see, okay, how can I utilize my resources and my talent to be helpful? And that's another thing. Like that's what Swiss told us, even going to Saudi Arabia. It's like, it's not about seeing how you can just make a quick dollar or how you can, extract, the resources, different from a colonizer in that standpoint. It's like, how can you be helpful?
Yeah.
How can you learn the culture? How can you, like, he was telling us, he was like, as far as like going to Saudi Arabia, he was like, artists have the wrong idea. They go and they try to overcharge for a show. He's like, I'll do a show for free. He's like, because, he said, money is the least beneficial thing that you can get from Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That's the least beneficial thing. Like, that's easy. They write you a check, but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you try to learn the culture? Why don't you try to really be ingrained in a day-to-day society and appreciative? And these are the things that I think are important when you're traveling, no matter where you go.
Yeah.
Don't come with an American mindset of like, this is our way of life. This is our culture. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
That's not the best way to go about it. And that's anywhere you go, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in Asia, whether it's you go to Canada, go to Mexico, like, it's not the best way to go about it. And it's like, when you realize that, you got to be a diplomat and you got to, learn the culture, learn the world, and be a global citizen. So that's why, like, the World Tour for us was so important, because it's like, this is a unique period in time, and we're able to connect dots globally from just a cell phone. So we have to take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And we got to think outside of our box. Like, our culture is our culture, but the world is bigger than our culture. It's bigger than hip hop culture. It's bigger than slang. It's bigger than being a street person. It's bigger than rap music. All of that is cool because that's the stuff that we kind of grew up on.
Yeah.
But
elevate past
what's the next elevation from that, right? Like, you could just stay in that mindset forever, but that's limited. So it's like now it's like, all right, international business, learning different languages, learning different cultures, you know, figuring out how you can be helpful and beneficial. Like, these are things that's very important. So I feel like Africa is on the forefront for the next 100 years. And anybody that does not take advantage of that will definitely be doing themselves a disservice.
Yep. I don't think it could be said any better. 2.5 billion people. And when you're thinking about opportunities, a lot of people go into the mindset like, well, what opportunities can I provide?
Endless.
Here's the consensus answer. Everything.
Everything.
We need everything.
Yep.
Right? And if you can't bring it, let's figure out how we can partner to make sure that it's here. We spoke to
Pink will do it.
We spoke to a gentleman. This is crazy. This quote, he was just like, you know what, we were talking about business. He was like, you know, I have a mobile service in Africa. He said, I haven't made $1 in the United States in 20 years. And I live in California.
Yeah.
20 years. Haven't made $1 here. So there's opportunities in every aspect of business. And a lot of times, and we spoke to some people, it was like, you don't even have to create a new business, right? You could look at a business that exists and say, here's how we make this suitable for this country, or we made it suitable for this continent because it doesn't exist, right? We know that it works here. How can we implement it? How can we change it? How can we strategically place it so that it fits this environment?
And do what's best for the people.
Exactly.
And you don't know how to do that unless you're in the culture. So I keep saying, when I go to Mexico, like, you have to learn there, build relationship there. You just can't go there and set up shop and that does not work. You have to build relationship there, have good relationship, good partnerships, people that advocate for you. But the moat is going to be international. Everyone, why you keep going to Mexico? I'm like, y'all can have the States. I keep telling you, it's dried up. Go ahead, enjoy. Y'all can have this. Yeah, America's IBM. Every other country, AMD, NVIDIA. Go ahead, enjoy. We've told you 3 times now if you do nothing with it. But if we don't, China will continue to do so.
Yeah. And I don't want to create any more division.
Yes.
But Ghana, you are on the clock. We have had jollof rice from Nigeria on a few occasions now. They are in the lead. But Ghana, you on the clock. We need to get some jollof rice from Guyanese. We need it from Guyana people. We need that rice because there is a competition that is going on here for decades now. But Nigeria is in the lead. I'll just say that.
My graduates from my school being Forbes, bag drop.
Bag drop.
A mic drop, bag drop.
Bag drop.